We're back, y'all. How about this? We are on After the Show with my girl, Nevetta K. King. She is our mental health specialist. We are here to talk about our mental health matters. There are things that we have to talk about to you today, Nevetta. So we got the crew here.
All right.
Yes, after the show. So I'm going to let my girl take it away. Come on, Counselor, what we got today?
Well, in conversing with DeAnna a couple days ago, the word that she threw out to me was elevate.
Yes.
That the theme for the show was going to be about us elevating in purpose. And so as I began to ponder and think about that, I was like, all right, what does it take for one to elevate mentally, spiritually, intellectually, professionally? What does it take? And two things came to me. It takes a reprogramming of the mind because some of the thoughts or our lived experiences that we have cause us to think a certain way. And when we're thinking a certain way, it's on autopilot. So when you get to the point in life where you recognize I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and I need to do something different, the limiting beliefs cause us to be stagnant.
Right.
And so it takes for us to reprogram our thinking, and it also takes us knowing who we are.
Come through.
Because without identity, again, we're stagnant because we're comparing ourselves to others. We are trying to keep up with the Joneses instead of running our own race. And when you know who you are, you know, that relieves, I call it comparisonitis. That's not my word. I heard it somewhere before.
Comparisonitis?
Comparisonitis.
Wow.
It will catch you off guard and have you throw it off, like we said earlier. Okay.
Throw it off.
Yes.
And you can't. You have to know who you are and reprogram your thinking so that you can elevate. So what I wanted to ask the people that are here today, whoever's going to be with us, in the moments when life is lifing, how do you stay focused and continue to level up in purpose?
Wow.
I think it's really important what you said about knowing who you are. I feel like that keeps you really grounded and helps you center back when you feel like your focus is drifting away. Because you can always come back to self to say, who am I? What am I about? What are my goals? And what am I doing to take steps towards that? And if I'm not, here comes that reprogramming of your mind. What do I need to do to recenter myself? What do I need to do to get my mind together so that I can achieve my goals?
Right.
Because I feel like if you really know who you are and what you're about and what you're really trying to do, you're not going to give up on yourself because you know how valuable it is that you're bringing into this world,
Absolutely.
what you're bringing to the plate. And so I feel like knowing who you are, bringing that back to your remembrance, whether that means you go for a walk or you go watch a show or something to say, oh yeah, I am this person.
Right.
I'm starting to get drifted this way, but this is who I really am. So let me come back to that and let me focus in on that, because that's going to help me elevate, because I want to elevate my life, and I know that these things are hindrances to that. So how do I circumvent that and get to where I'm trying to go? I know that's something that I do, is refocus and reprogram and refocus and reprogram, because it's not easy when you haven't seen someone like you do what you're trying to do.
Come on.
So you've got to have enough in you to push through that, to know that, hey, even though I'm going through this, once I get to the other side, all this is going to be worth it.
That's it.
And so it's pushing through that to get to the other side that, you know, can really show you that, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is how I'm being led. And so, coming back to self.
That's
and
good.
reminding yourself of who you are and what you're trying to do.
That's good.
I think for me, one of the biggest way for me to do it is I have to write things down.
Okay.
And I think sometimes those thoughts that I may have that may not be there, I do a lot of, because you eliminate things. And I think the only way sometimes I can eliminate things is if I write it down. If I say, you ain't gonna be able to do this today, you know, write it down so that I can look at that and go, you know what, let me scratch that out, because that is not something that I need to hold on to.
Good.
But I have to get it out, and I have to release it in order for me to keep on to and keep the paper filled with the things that I do need to read, saying, yes, you can do this, and yes, you need to do this. This is your next step. This is, but sometimes it takes writing down, you know, and I hate to say it, it takes writing down those negative words and writing down those positive words and scratching those negative words out so that you can eliminate them. But to allow yourself to get those out, because I feel like sometimes we don't allow ourselves to feel those moments. because sometimes we need to be able to feel those moments so that we can get past those moments.
Right.
So if we don't allow ourselves to feel those moments, we don't get past them. So for me, it's writing it down, scratching out and saying, you know what, this is not, and then I can rewrite my purpose. Because
good.
Sometimes we don't take that time to evaluate those things so that we can rewrite our purpose. Because if we don't face them, we don't get past them if we don't face them. So sometimes it's like, let me face this. Let me face what I fear. I fear.
Yeah.
Let me face what I fear. I fear the failure. I fear not succeeding. I fear that I won't elevate. But if I can face those things, then I can elevate past them. But until I face them, I feel like I won't elevate. So I sometimes tell people, face your fear so you can elevate past it.
Right.
That's good. For me, I think, therefore I am.
That's good.
I really do. No, I literally have to go back to God's word to say who I am in Him. Yeah. And then it's like, oh yeah, and then I got to cast down all these, the Bible says casting down vain imaginations, but truly like that vain imagination for me is the imposter syndrome. You're not good enough. Who do you think you are? Like you said, all of those negatives, they do come. And as many things as I do and in many places I get to show up, little do you know that tape is running in the back of my head sometimes. And there's times when I got to write it down. There's times I got to remember. There's times I got to call somebody. And Nevetta, I thank you for being my friend because I'm like, girl, this is how I feel. This is the negative tape that's going on in my head. Like, help me remember, you know. Sometimes I have to ask somebody, help me remember who I am. You know, I know who I am, but in the midst and the busy and the comparison-itis,
That's tough.
you know, I didn't want an award and then come back home, I'm nobody, I've done nothing ever in my life, you know. And those things, and it makes you remember again who God says that I am, and I am that person.
And I love that you said you sometimes have to call somebody to, you know, help you remember. But, you know, another thing is, like, I say this because spreading those words, telling people around you, you know what, this right here, you're doing amazing at. This right here is wonderful. I love these qualities about you. Because sometimes we don't hear that enough and we forget. And to, you know, you could be a reminder for somebody else. So I would always say, and I would encourage people, tell people the amazing things they're doing. Because that can really change somebody's perspective for the day.
Absolutely. I get that all the time with, you know, doing music and doing artistry.
Oh, God.
And, you know, every now and then I get a random DM like, hey, I just discovered your music. It's great. I love this song. And I'm like, oh, yeah. That is, I'm great. I'm doing great things. You know, it's just like, you know, they're just like expressing, you know, whatever in the moment. But to me, it's just like, that fresh air, that breath that I need to say, oh, okay, yes, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm sacrificing and investing and spending money and connecting and all of that is leading me to a place. And so I've got to stay the course in order to get there. And those encouraging words along the way are so important.
I write them on my bathroom mirror, affirmations, you know, constantly like around me, they're affirmations. And I speak to myself out loud. I do that because, again, if we don't know ourselves and we can't affirm ourselves, then what are we out here doing? Go ahead, Counselor. I'm sorry.
No, all of that was really good. And it's that the positive lived experience, take those traumatic situations and it turns into our post-traumatic growth. And so, but when I hearing everybody talking, we talked about the refocusing, the affirmations. And after we do those things, after we call somebody and talk to someone, then we're able to get back in the game, right? But what came to my mind, Andrew, when you talked about sitting with those emotions, that's a type of self-compassion. Self-compassion, giving yourself permission to feel
Thank you.
Whatever it is you need to feel, and don't just try to push it away, because even in that emotion, there is a lesson to be learned. And sometimes we just want to escape the moment, but when you escape the moment, because you haven't learned a lesson, you go around in a circle and you end up right back in that place, versus sitting and finding out, why is it that I'm feeling this way? Where is this coming from? And what is here for me to learn?
And I think a lot of the toxic masculinity says
Don't cry.
especially for men. Don't cry. Don't have emotions. Don't let anyone see your emotions, even if you have them. Have them in private where you can handle that, and you can continue to just maneuver through the world.
Yeah.
And we've come to understand that that is not a healthy way to live, and that's not a way to express yourself. And so I think, like you said, sitting in that. Sometimes you gotta, and sometimes not just one sitting. This is true. Multiple times you're going to have to sit in that emotion and really say to yourself, I do feel this. Why do I feel this? And how can I maneuver this into another way? Not to say I'll never feel this again, but how do I maneuver? How do I cope? How do I deal? How do I find healthy ways to cope and deal? Because life is going to keep lifing. And
that's it.
And we can't run from we can try, but we cannot run from the reality that we're all human beings having these experiences, and emotions are there. And so, I definitely wanted to speak to that, because there is that man don't show and man don't hug and don't express and don't. That is not true. And that is not a way that you will live a healthy life. And you've got to find healthy ways to express those emotions.
Yeah.
That's good. Well,
And
we are.
I would also like to say there's nothing also wrong with, for some of us, figuring that out on your own.
Ooh.
Because I think sometimes we like to allow people to share in those moments with us when we're going through those things. And sometimes those moments are for us to go through alone.
Yeah.
Not all of them are.
Right,
but
right.
some of them are for us to go through alone. And I think we try to bring someone in on that journey. And it's not meant for them in some essence. And I only say that because I know just in life of experiencing this, that I was like, oh, let me tell somebody how I feel about this and this and this. And I was like, wait a minute. They don't understand this because they haven't yet experienced this.
Right.
So, be cautious on some of those people, because then you get those, you sometimes can lose yourself because it was meant for you to find yourself in those moments too.
Yeah, that sometimes you need solitude, not isolation. Just
There
solitude.
is a difference. That's good.
Ooh, child. Okay, we can keep talking. We can keep talking. Listen, y'all, I'm about to wrap it up after the show because we can keep going on and on. I love this moment.
Yes.
I love the moments of clarity that we get when talking to you, because I know that I am not alone.
That's it.
I am not alone. And in all the things that we go through, we are not. So, Nevetta, if you don't mind, just give us one more word of wisdom, encouragement, whatever you got for us today.
The last thing I would say would just be piggybacking off of that we are not alone. That is called common humanity. And it is a lie sometimes. It's a thinking trap to believe nobody's going through this but me. And so understand and recognize that I'm not the only one that's going through this. And then also find that place between solitude and isolation.
Yeah.
We have to find that place. So
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the Fwdprogress show today. After the show, this is Mental Health Matters with Nevetta K. King. Thank y'all so much for joining the Fwdprogress show. I'm your host, DeAnna Brown, and this is the crew. All right. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
bye-bye.